Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between. My name is Sherman, and this is Wingin' It. Today, we were talking about a bird that is very close to my heart, being that it was, when I first got into bird watching, it was one of the first birds that I saw. I was on this email list, and the email list would send you things, oh, there's a rare bird in your area. And one day I looked at it, and it said, okay, there's a double-crested cormorant. And I had never heard of that before, and the words double-crested cormorant just sounded so, mystical. And it's like, oh, it's so multi-syllabic, I gotta go check it out. And I walked along the river for a while, and finally I saw it in the binoculars, and it was just such a crazy-looking critter that ever since then, I've had a certain soft spot for the double-crested cormorant. So I would love to do it the service to talk about how much of an actual monster this thing is. So it's whatever. So, oh my god! Is this a good time to mention that this desk is made out of cinder blocks and a mirror? I don't know if we talked about that. The double-crested cormorant, it's one of the, it consumes the highest, let me think about this before I say it, the highest fish per unit. So that means that an individual cormorant will eat more fish in its lifetime than any other bird. So obviously they're doing something right when it comes to hunting. And what sets them apart from other birds that dive, you can see a lot of birds that dive are also more efficient fish eaters. You know, you got loons, and even you see a difference between your diving ducks and dabbling ducks. So per unit, a merganser is going to catch more fish than a mallard just by merit of the way that it dives. Anyway, so what a lot of waterfowl do is they coat themselves in preen oil, and that they distribute it all throughout this little gland on the back of their neck, and they distribute the oil throughout their feathers, and it makes them buoyant. It makes them waterproof so their feathers don't get wet. The cormorant, because it's crazy, says, you know what? Forget the preen oil. It makes me slower. So it doesn't have a preen gland. When birds have preen oil, now there's a little layer of oxygen on their wings, and it makes them slightly more buoyant, which means that when a cormorant is diving underwater, it would make it just a little bit slower, and no can do. It's not going to do that. It wants to catch as many fish as it can, so it doesn't have the preen oil. It's completely waterlogged when it's diving around. So that's why you see cormorants having... They strike this pose because they need to, because they're soaked, and they're drying their feathers. So it really, not to step into some accidental anthropomorphizing, but it's like a king. He's standing out there, showing his feathers off to all the other birds. Like, yeah, dude, check me out. I ditched this so that I can eat more fish. I'm better than you, and I'm going to stand out here and, really show it to you. So double-crested cormorant, it's just a fascinating creature. There's a lot of, folklore around them. People are angry that they've been hunted en masse by fishermen because they're such strong fish killers that fishermen will kill the cormorant so that they don't have as much competition. And that has caused a lot of issues as far as conservation, and cormorant numbers really took a hit in the late 1800s, and then they started to come back as conservation efforts improved. There's another interesting application of fishermen and cormorants, and you see it in China, that there's a generational culture of fishing with cormorants. What they do is they tie, I don't think it's a double-crested cormorant, I think it's a different species of it, but they tie a string around its neck so that it can't swallow the big fish. And then the cormorant will go underwater, and it catches a massive fish, and it comes back, and it gets stuck in its throat. The fishermen will then remove the big fish and give the cormorant a smaller fish. And they just kind of rock it like that. The cormorant goes, he gets a big fish. Once I'm saying that process out loud, the cormorants are still getting a pretty short end of the stick in that deal. But, hey, it's kind of cool. Look it up on YouTube. It's a cool thing. My name is Sherman O'Brien. This is Wingin' It.